Bouncing across I-70 here, headed back up toward Elkhart. I came up last week and took one out to Fresno, California to Freedom RV. It's a 25-foot sport track. I don't know if you guys have pulled sport tracks before. I don't know if they're all like this or if maybe it's just a one-off or what, but that was the best pulling little trailer I think I've ever pulled, bumper pull. I mean, the wind didn't affect me, nothing. That was my first trip to California that the wind hadn't affected me, and I couldn't tell you how many trips. It was a really, really super nice ride. I probably should have done some recording, but I was just not in the mood for it last week. I just kind of needed a break. But anyway, headed back up and going to pick up one tomorrow, going to Pasco, Washington. Yep. It's going to be a bumper pull. It's, I don't remember, I think 28, 29 feet long, and I'm going to do that and try to get some different scenery along the way. Anyway, I'm about to stop here in Effingham, get something to eat, and I will get back with you guys tomorrow. Well, I'm driving along and I started hearing a noise, sound like I had a tire going bad, or I even thought maybe a wheel bearing or something. But you notice my voltage is right on where it's supposed to be. So, bearing being down the alternator, what do you guys think I should do? Chance it and try to get another 150 miles on up to Goshen? Bearing locks up, it shreds a belt, possibly damaging other things. Or pull over here to Slove's, cut the truck off, wait till in the morning, find no O'Reilly's or somewhere, and hopefully they got an alternator. I don't know either. But me being me, I'll probably try to chance it and get on to Indiana, and if it does come apart, it comes apart. Don't know. But anyhow, I'll let y'all know how it turns out. So I made it up to Rochester, Indiana last night there at the Pilot, and man, that alternator raising cane by the time I got there. Really, really surprised that it hasn't come apart. Even more surprised it's still charging the batteries. So, but it's hanging in there like a trooper. But I'm at Nakin Chevrolet here in Elkhart. I really like these guys. I don't like going to a lot of dealers, but if I had to have a dealer work on my truck, this would be the one that I'd want to do it. I've talked to the diesel tech in here a couple of times. He is awesome. Sherelle, I guess you call him service rider anyway. Sherelle, he's awesome. The parts people are awesome. I just really like this dealership if I've got to deal with a dealership. And when you're talking about going to work for a company, when I went to work with Indiana Transport, I didn't realize there are a lot of stuff that gets discounted when you're with a big company. I called in Rochester, and the dealership there, they didn't have the alternator, and it would have been the next day before I could have got it. It was $550, right around $550, $545 and some change. Then I called O'Reilly's down the street. They had one with a limited lifetime warranty on it for $345. All right. Now, I would rather have a brand new alternator from GM, brand new Delco alternator. This one got me $400,000. Another one gets, it's what it is. Stuff's going to burn up. Stuff's going to wear out. But by me having the discount, working with Indiana Transport, instead of $545, I paid $387.31 for a brand new Delco alternator. Still high, but to me it was the best option to go. Kind of curious what you guys think. Should I have went with the O'Reilly's alternator? That way if I get out in the middle of New Mexico or Montana or somewhere and it goes down again and there's an O'Reilly's in every small town, there's usually a dealer pretty close too. But the limited lifetime warranty, I could have still been changing that alternator out in 10 years. I could go through, even more, just pull it off, take it in, swap it, bring it back out, do it in the parking lot, and you'd be out in a couple of hours, you know, versus if this one goes out, I don't know what the warranty is on this one. I totally expect it to exceed the warranty, but this one does have, I'm sure, at the most a year warranty on it. So kind of curious what you guys would have done. I had to think on it for a few minutes, but I went ahead and went this way. So anyway, I got a phone call Friday from Indiana Transport, and they just said, hey, can you come in and see us when you get back to Indiana? And I'm sure. And all right, appreciate it, see you Monday. So when you get a phone call like that, 90% of the time it's a random drug test. In 20 years of trucking, that's what I picked up. Because if you're in trouble, they're going to tell you. If you did something good, they're going to tell you. If it's anything else, they're going to come right straight out and tell you over the phone. But on a random drug test, a lot of times they won't tell you until you get there, because it could defeat the purpose of the drug test. I'm not worried about it at all. But so I'm amazed that I made it from the Illinois-Indiana state line after I noticed how bad the alternator was to here, to Rochester, and then I still pushed it on up to here. I'm going to try to get every mile I can out of this thing. I'm going to go ahead and go to the office. If that's what it is, I'll have to drive down the road to do the random, and then turn around and come back to the office and put the alternator on. Then we'll get headed to Washington. So there's the old one, and there's the new one. And it took all of about 25 minutes to put it on. All you do, loosen this clamp right here and pull the hose out for the air box, disconnect your mass airflow, and take these little push pins, there's 2 of them off the back side of the breather, the air box. And once you get it out, there is this right here that you take off. It's got this little cap on it. You put it back on, unplug this wire, take these 2 bolts out, and you're pretty much good. About what to expect out of a 2018 Paramax alternator. And it is bad. The pulley is moving in and out, up and down. So this garbage, we did start it back up, and it's running fine, doing fine, charging fine. So we made it to CURT, got the alternator picked up, went and did a random drug test, came back and put the alternator on. I wished I could have made a better video of that, but with people coming and going, I wanted to get it done as quick as I could. But it wasn't a big deal at all whatsoever. Alright, so got the alternator put on. Then I noticed I had a marker light out, so I had to replace a turn signal bulb over there in the front passenger side upper turn signal bulb. And then went to go hook up and got our camper, and my buddy Mr. Tennessee, he was going to go out there with me. We had the identical campers, and his had issues. It had wiring issues. Every time we would try to hook the battery up, it would just throw sparks. It was just acting a fool. So he called in, and they transferred him to another load. He's still going to Washington. It's just not a bumper pull, and it's not, I think it's even going to the same place. I'm not sure. Anyway, there's something that I've been tinkering around with the idea of doing, and I was going to show you guys what it was, see what you thought. So what this is an easy lift sway control setup. I actually got 2 of these whenever I bought this hitch, and I just tossed them in a toolbox somewhere and didn't really think much about it. So I'd always seen these little balls on the hitch on the receiver part and wondered, you know, what it was for. Like I said, I'm not done a whole bunch of bumper pull, especially camper kind of stuff, you know, but that hooks onto that ball, and then we can't modify the trailers for a ball. Before I show you guys this, nobody made fun of my welding. I never claimed to be a welder, but it is what it is. So here's what I did. I took my saddle, my bracket back here, and I welded a piece of flat steel to it. Then I ordered a ball off Amazon and cut the shank off of it and welded that to the flat steel. Now you can drop a pencil behind this almost and run it the full length. It's not touching the frame of the trailer at all whatsoever. I can almost get my finger down in behind there, all the way down. And when you're using this, I have used it once before just to check it out to see how it worked, would I like it, whatever. And you don't have to have this thing tightened way down. Now I didn't know that, so I cranked it all the way down, and I bent my flat steel right there. So I was talking to another gentleman that has used these before, and he said no. He said you don't have to crank it down much at all. He said once it snugs up, that's plenty. So we're gonna leave it about right here and just see how it works, and then I'll go ahead and take this off and show you what I'm. Pull this pin out, pull that off, that's all there is to it. Just one pin goes in and holds it right here. Pull that pin, slip that out. And that pin goes back in just that easy. And then on the front, pull this pin. This comes up just that easy. And all this is a friction brake. Right like that. All this is a friction brake. The tighter you tighten it, the harder it is for that flat piece to slide in between it. So, here we jump back in the truck. It's kind of loud out there. Other trucks pulling in, getting ready to park for the night. But, yeah, I was gonna say before anybody starts in about, buy a real truck, get a dually, whatever. I'm not interested in hearing that myself, because the main thing that got me motivated to actually start, put that together, was talking to some guys with dualies that were having issues with the way the trailer's weighed. So I'm gonna run this setup this time out to Washington and see how I like it. I'll take and tighten it up and loosen it up and possibly take it off and on. That's what I did the last time when I went out to Fresno, California. I put it on, tore out down the road, and it was great. I was thinking, man, this is amazing. The difference is awesome. I took it off, it was still amazing. It was still awesome. It just happens that I hooked to the best pulling bumper pull I'd ever pulled, the little Sport Trek. Could not tell a bit of difference. But this one, having the generator up front and all that, I'll let you guys know what I come up with at the end of the video. I'm sure we'll be checking in on it periodically through the video. But I thought that was pretty neat to weld that to the bracket and get it where you can use it if you want to. Just something to maybe give you a little peace of mind, if nothing else, that you're doing all you can do to keep your sway down and all that stuff. Anyway, so I'm waiting for my buddy to get loaded, and he should be here in a little bit. I'm gonna get some paperwork done, and then we'll get on the road. So, woke up this morning at the big truck stop. Last night, getting in there, parking was horrible. People scattered out all over everywhere, and just a ton of trucks in there, and it was horrible. But we finally found a place to park, crashed, woke up this morning, and been running around with a bad influence. My buddy Mr. Tennessee, he'd been on me about getting a cooker and start eating out of the refrigerator ever since I can remember. In all my years driving a truck, I've never even considered it, because I feel like that's something I need just to get out of the truck, go in, sit down, have one hot meal a day, and I don't like to snack all that much. But when you buy fuel, you get usually at least a penny a gallon back on your fuel card or your rewards card. That stuff adds up. I had like $90 on my fuel card, or on my rewards card for the petrol and T8s this morning. So I went ahead and bought a cooker. Now, the reason I bought one, it wasn't necessarily, that's one I got, that's one he's got, and it wasn't necessarily because I plan on making every meal in the truck, but this morning I used his and did 2 sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits, and they actually turned out pretty good. And everything is going up here lately. I went into the Petro out in Kingpin the other night and spent $17 on a salad. I just went in to get something light, wasn't really thinking about it, and I thought, salad, that's light, cheap, no. And then I went in to the Petro in Joplin the other night. I wasn't starving, I just wanted to be out of the truck for a minute, so I get out and I go in looking for something light, get a cheeseburger. thinking, you know, $7, $8, 10, 12 with a tip, you know. No, it was like $16 plus tip. So, even though it's not something I'm real excited about, I'm gonna give the cooker a try. And next time we stop, I'm gonna stop and get some different things. I decided I was gonna give it a try before we left, so I went to Walmart, got some different things to put in it. I'm not gonna get as gung-ho by it as he does, but I'm sure if y'all saw his videos, the little tin trays, get those at Walmart or somewhere different. They're way more expensive at a truck stop, but they are there if you need them in emergencies. And yeah, I'm gonna use this thing for a few days, see how it works out. I didn't really spend anything for it because I bought it on points at the truck stop. But in the event that you want to check it out and just see what it is, I'll leave a link to it in the description, just so you can see. I was worried that it would put too much draw on the cigarette lighter, because I know other people who have them, it does plug into the cigarette lighter, and I know other people who have them that says it blowing fuses and stuff like that. So I didn't want to get to pull too much on that. And for what this thing is, I was really kind of surprised at the cost. I tried to buy a George Foreman grill yesterday, just so you know, the little small personal George Foreman grill, plugged it in the inverter. Not near enough power for it, and I'm not to the point where I'm ready to put in another inverter yet. So figure taking this thing out of the box, it's super small. Yeah, that was the first thing I liked about his this morning when I saw it, and this morning was the first time that I did see his, and that is absolutely all that's in the box. It opens up kind of like a lunchbox, and then the inside, especially the bottom, I noticed this morning whenever I was using his that the bottom got super hot. The top gets hot, but the bottom gets super hot, so you will burn yourself on this if you're not careful. I almost did myself. So anyway, I'm gonna use this for a few days, and I will let you know if I love it or hate it or whatever. If I hate it, it will wind up getting given to someone. But if not, if I love it, then you'll see more of this in the videos. Now, as far as the power cord, I thought it was pretty cool. Power cord snaps up right in there. You know, got a fuse, got its own fuse right there. And I've not plugged it in yet, and I want to do that before I throw the box away. That way I make sure it works, and I don't have to worry about returning it. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in for a few minutes and just let it sit here and see does it work. And the red light did come on. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm gonna let it sit here for at least 5, maybe 10 minutes, just to make sure that it does heat up and I don't need to return it. And then we'll get back on the road. So it's a new day. When we got to Bozeman back there last night, it was really bad stormy. It was raining, the wind was blowing around pretty good, and we decided to call it a night there. We'd hope to get a little bit further, but not in a big rush, so it is what it is. And we just got fuel and got out of there a few minutes ago, and I'll try to make it. We got 300 miles of Nebraska left, and then I can't remember how many miles it is across Wyoming, but a good stretch across Wyoming. And I'll try to make at least to the other side of Wyoming tonight. Now, the wind has picked up today versus what it was yesterday, and the sway control that I put on, it's really hard to tell when the wind's not blowing. But I drove it yesterday with the sway control backed all the way off. It wasn't even, it was on, but it was not, I wouldn't think it would be functional, because I had it completely loosened off. And then with the wind blowing today, I went ahead and ran it down to where it should be, and it's driving fine. I mean, I can feel that the wind's blowing, but it's not got me thinking I need to worry about it at all right now. You know, I don't know I didn't look to see what the wind gust or anything was, but like I say, I can feel it. When you're standing in a parking lot, you can feel it blowing, but it's not like horrible. But I did go ahead and tighten it down, and know, everything's riding fine. I can't really say that it's helping because I didn't try it today with it being loosened off. So somewhere across through here, I will loosen it up and see, you know, see how it does. And we're just poking along at 65 mile an hour anyway with the wind, and like I said, we're not really in a big hurry. But now one question that I have been getting a lot of, and I've talked about it before in other videos, but I don't remember what videos. Insurance. A lot of people have been asking about insurance. Now, he's in a hurry. Now, there's only a few companies that I know anything about. I do know that whenever I started this, I went and got the commercial tag for the truck that I was told I had to have. And then I went by my insurance agent that I have my insurance on all my personal vehicles. And I walked in and said, hey, I just had to get a commercial tag for my truck. How's that going to affect my insurance? And they said, well, it's no good anymore. It's a personal policy. It's not good on a truck that's plated commercial. Well, okay, what do I need to do? So they worked me up a policy through Progressive for a commercial policy, and I think they actually figured in the unladen insurance that we have too. And it was like $1,600 a month. That's totally unacceptable. It's something I can't swing. So I started shopping around. I called the companies. I said, well, who does the drivers that you have now? I mean, surely they, you know, there's talk of who they're using for insurance. And they put me on a company out of Fort Wayne, Indiana called CCR. I called them. I'm pretty sure it's Creative Underwriters was the policy that I had there. And I wasn't really happy with that policy because it was $285 a month, I think. And over the course of the year, it went down to like $250. But the part that I didn't like about it is I couldn't let anyone else drive the truck at all, not even in case of emergency, unless they were leased to the company that the truck was leased to. And then, you know, they had to be approved by the company, kind of like if I wanted to hire a driver and put in the truck. I didn't like that. I didn't like whenever I went home, if I wanted to pull my personal trailer, like if you've got a boat or your own camper or something like that, that policy wouldn't cover that. So if I needed to pull my gooseneck and move a tractor, not going to cover. But it was the only reasonable insurance I could find, so I had to go with that. I just had to not like it for a while. And when I left over there and came over here, they gave me 2 different places that I could check with. You know, you can get it, as far as I know, you can get it about anywhere. But the policy, the company that I was using for the other company, when I came to Indiana Transport, they said that they wouldn't accept that insurance. And I don't know why. I'm assuming they had their reasons. So I had to go look elsewhere. And I said, well, who does everyone else use? And I called the drivers that I knew over here and asked them who they use. And they all went through a company called Canal or a company called McGriff. So I looked at Canal and called them. And then I looked at McGriff and called them. And when I talked to them at Canal, I said, now I have personal trailers that I like to pull when I'm home. Is that going to be covered? She said, yeah. Yeah, it's just like your personal insurance when you're not hooked to a trailer or when you're not dispatched under a load. I said, okay, so in the event that I want to let my neighbor use the truck and go to the store to pick up parts for me while I'm working on something, he would be covered. Yes, as long as he doesn't live in your household. Okay, so they worked it up. It's like $380 a month, $389 a month. I think it's what I'm paying on this truck. It's right there close. It's within dollars. And, you know, I have people, I called McGriff and they said no. With the policy that they were offering me, it was just like the one that I had before. You know, you couldn't pull your personal trailers. Like if you had a boat and wanted to take it to the lake, you couldn't do that. You could, but it wouldn't be insured. The insurance that they were offering was about like what I had when I had the 18-wheeler. You know, I could drive the 18-wheeler as long as it wasn't hooked to another trailer. I mean, as soon as I hook another trailer behind it, I need to be making money with it because, you know, it wasn't covering for personal use. And you couldn't let anyone else drive it that wasn't approved through the company that you were leased to. So I was used to that insurance. I just didn't like it on this truck. But everyone, when I tell them I'm paying for insurance, they say, oh, well, that's too much. You need to go to one of these other companies. And yes, you can get it cheaper, but you're going to have those limitations, you know. Now, if you don't have anyone else that's ever going to need to drive that truck, and you don't have any other trailers or anything at home that you need to pull and all that stuff, that cheaper price may be better for you. It just depends on your situation and circumstances. And the reason I'm saying all this and putting it on the video is these are the questions I feel like you need to ask when you're getting your insurance. If you do have a boat, or you do have a camper, or you do have a flatbed, that trailer, bumper pull, car hauler, or something that you want to pull your car to the drag strip on the weekends, or just whatever. If you got four-wheelers and stuff and you want to pull them to the off-road park or whatever, you know, those are the questions you need to ask. Don't just assume that it's covered. And then, of course, the plate. I did have to get the 26,000 pound commercial plate, being in Tennessee. The joint, they got what they call a J-tag, a joint plate, and that wouldn't work because I'm now in Iowa. That's not joining to Tennessee. So, I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to add in there, but I think, you know, that, like I say, that's a question I get a lot, and I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. If you do have your own authority, if you have your own DOT numbers and all that stuff, I don't see where it would really help you, because when you're leasing into a company, you're going to run theirs anyway. The only time that's going to help you is if you have your own contacts and you want to pull for one of the manufacturers. You know, if you can go up there and talk to them and get your own contracts and negotiate your own prices and all that stuff, of course that would probably be better. But you're going to have all the extra stuff that comes along with it, like dealing with that. And a lot of times, most of the places take. When I was in my 18-wheeler, I can't attest to this, but when I was in my 18-wheeler, if you had your own authority, a lot of times they had up to anywhere from 60 to 90 days to pay you. And I don't know about you guys, but the way fuel is, me trying to pay 60 to 90 days worth of fuel bills, that'd be a hard one. I've always felt like it was easier just to lease into a company, let them supply me with the loads, me do what I want to do, and not have to worry about as much of the paperwork side of it. That's always worked better for me. I've got my hands full with the responsibilities that I have. Anytime I can get someone else share that responsibility, that's for the better, you know. But I will also say this is the first trucking that I've done in 15 years that actually paid by the mile. Everything that I've ever done always paid by either weight or paid by, you know, it just pay a flat rate. You know, it was already pre-negotiated, the miles versus the time that you were putting in for the loading and the unloading, and all that stuff was figured in on the rate. That's what I did the majority of. But anyway, like I said, we're hoping to make it to the other side of Wyoming tonight and get started off again. Hopefully finish the trip up tomorrow. I'd hope to deliver on Thursday, but the weather last night and just kind of being not in the mood for it too, you know, not really in a big hurry in the first place. Yeah, just kind of stretched this out a little bit. But I figure we'll deliver Friday morning now. But, well, we're going to ease on across through here, and I'll let you guys know if anything interesting happens. This has been a pretty interesting trip so far, so I hope the rest of it's pretty boring. So it is Thursday morning. Just got fuel and headed out of Fort Brigger, Wyoming, about 30 miles from the Utah state line. So shows we got 10 hours to get to Pasco, to where I'm going, to Camping World. What a crater. So should be good to unload first thing in the morning. And yeah, it should be a good day, good ride. Cooker's working out really good. I stopped and bought some sausage and biscuits and different things that normally I would keep frozen, but you know, I can't use my refrigerator as a freezer and a refrigerator at the same time, so they don't really stay frozen. That's why I wouldn't buy a whole lot of anything, but I was just trying it out, and so far it seemed to me about like 30 minutes you probably cook whatever you want, you know. Gotta say, I'm missing walking in and sitting at the restaurant, so, but dang. Anyway, another thing I wanted to talk about, I've got a bunch of questions over the past week about people asking about getting into this, and is it sustainable? Is the fuel prices taking all the profit and all that stuff? And right now, today, no. I mean, like I said in previous videos, it stings a little bit, but I'm still paying the bills. I'm still making what I need to make to feel like I'm making a profit. So now, we did get an email back a while back that said that next month it was going to slow down a little bit. So if you're thinking about doing this and you've got something you can hold on to for another month or so to see how things go through July, that would probably be a really good idea before you try to get in right here, right now. But like I said, everything still seems to be moving. I mean, they've got some older loads that they're wanting to get moved out before they put a whole lot of stuff, before they put new stuff on the board. But all the companies, from what I hear, are doing that right now, trying to get their older inventory moved out so they can kind of figure out what they got and all that stuff. But I know when I started, they told me it was just after on the first of the year. It was January the 6th, and they said, well, it's probably going to be slow for the next couple months. Just always get slow over the next couple months. I said, okay. I never saw anything slow. We were running steady just as hard as I could go. This guy's going to slow down going up this hill, but yeah. And then July rolled around, and they said the same thing. Said, July slows down every year. I never noticed. They ran me all the way through the year, even with COVID. Then this past first year, I mean, y'all see the videos. I ain't slowed down. And then I'm kind of hoping that, even if it gets slow, I'm hoping that there's enough to keep you moving. And that's the way it's been the past couple of times. You may not get to go exactly where you want to go, but you can. There's always something. It seems to be something on the board. But anyway, as far as, is this something good to get into? Is it right for you and all that stuff? Nobody can answer that. Some people are cut out for it. Some people aren't. Some people like it. Some people hate it. Some people claim they make no money in it, and I can see that if you don't run, you're not going to make any money. Some people claim they make a lot more than what I think they make. That's fine. As long as they're making enough to make them happy, who cares? And none of that stuff's not my business. And the only reason I share so much with you guys is because when I first started doing this, I didn't know anybody. I watched a few videos, a few different channels, say, and I already had a trucking background. I pretty much knew what it was all about. I just didn't know the industry. So, but as far as being out on the road, I kind of had that figured out. And it's worked for me. And I don't really see why I'd do anything different at this time, at this point. Now, is it sustainable? Right now, in the shape the economy's in, I don't feel like anything is sustainable. I really don't. And if there is something that's sustainable and they're hiring, they send me an application or something. I mean, like I say, I just don't. Everything is so up in the air right now. Nobody knows what next week's going to be like, much less next month or anything else. But if you go to work doing anything else with the fuel prices going up, well, everything's going to go up. So there's a lot of places that manufacture stuff, they're going to cut back on production because the cost of getting the stuff is going to go so high. I mean, yeah, to me, it's not just going to affect RV transport. I feel like it's going to affect everything. So that's just my theory on that. Is it a good time to get into it? Yeah, probably not, especially when there's going to be a slowdown next month in July and all. But is it a good time to get into anything? If it is, I don't know what it would be, So I don't know. That's just each individual decision. And I've been getting so many questions about it over the past couple of days, especially, and I figured I would kind of throw that out there. So I've already delivered. It's the next day. It was rainy, it was messy when we got there to deliver, and I didn't get any video. I went ahead and pulled in, got in and out really quick, and I was thinking, man, this is awesome, this is a great place to unload, I'll definitely be back. I stopped and talked to another driver for just a second. My buddy Mr. Tennessee delivered like 8 miles down the road at Appleway RV, and he was pulling in the parking lot where I was unloading by the time I got finished. So both places seem to be excellent, Appleway RV and Camping World of Pasco. Now, as we liked it so much, we actually going right back to get another one and come right back out here. So as far as the sway control goes, at this point I've noticed it helps some, and like if the wind is really blowing. But as far as just regular driving conditions with a good pulling trailer, you don't even notice it's on there. You know, I took that one off yesterday morning and drove the rest of the way in, and it was rainy and it was messy, and it was not noticeable that it wasn't on there, that I could tell really at all. The only times I really felt like I noticed a difference is if the wind was really blowing, like over in Nebraska when it came a big storm the other night. I think they actually got hail and stuff around Sydney. But I definitely felt like I noticed a difference because I loosened it off during that, and I could tell it had a little bit more wiggle to it. But it wasn't like a massive noticeable difference. But it definitely wasn't the hardest wind I've driven through either. So I'm going to keep trying that out, and I'll let you guys know how it goes as I go. If you want to check one out, and I'll leave a link to it in the description if you just want to look at it and see about how much it costs and, you know, the different stuff. But right now, me personally, I wouldn't recommend spending the money on it, especially if you're just starting up. I wouldn't recommend spending the money on it until I see better results for myself. That's one of the things I like doing on this channel. If I see something I think it might work, I'll try it. If it works great, I'll tell you it works great. If it doesn't work great, I'll tell you it doesn't work great. And if I'm undecided like this, I'll tell you I'm undecided. Keep watching, So that was a 28-foot bumper pull that we brought out here. The load paid $204 a mile. The grand total on it was $4,173.84. I spent $14.75 and some change in fuel. I can't read my own handwriting, but I could read it when I was figuring it up, so it's correct. $26.98.84 is what I transferred to the bank, and I don't feel like that's that bad, even though it still made me sick every time I pulled up to the fuel pump and seen that high fuel price. I don't feel like that's that bad. And that was me starting when I unloaded the Fresno, California load. I made it back to Milan, New Mexico, and I bought very little in Milan just to get me on across, and I made it over to Oklahoma City. I didn't need much when I got to Milan to get me to Oklahoma City, but I started in Milan, and that was my fuel to get back all the way out there, and I haven't bought any more fuel since, and I'm still sitting on a full tank in the truck, and the auxiliary tank is pretty well empty, I think. When it hit full, when I pulled in here and it hit full, I went ahead and cut it off. So I'm not sure, I didn't look. If it's got any in it, it's not much at all. But I'm happy with that. Like I say, we're both going back and getting another one coming right straight back to Pasco. As far as I know, they had a bunch of these on the board, and right now we're in Twin Falls, Idaho. I don't know if you guys have ever been here before or not, but I think it's Snake River Canyon. You guys ought to check this out. You get off at exit 173 off 84. I think it's Jerome, Idaho exit. You turn to the right. You come down, you come across this big bridge. And we stopped in right over here at Outback Steakhouse last night. And what a view. That's crazy. And I know the camera don't do justice, so that's a golf course. That's crazy. So if any of you guys are into golfing, that's awesome. Or float the river. I think it's called Snake River Canyon, I think. Anyway, they are, past that bush, scattered out all up and down the river there today. So that's pretty cool. A friend of mine actually told me that you could go around through here somewhere and they have waterfalls. So we may go check that out here in a little bit. We really need to get on the road. But like I say, I'm not a golfer, but if I was, that's where I'd want to play golf. Also wanted to kind of get a shot of this. I just now noticed all the people that were just hanging out, chilling. That would be a good time. This place is awesome. I mean, I haven't seen much of it, and I'm sure you guys know the area better. A lot of you guys know the area better than I do. If you do, leave in the comments things to see around this area, because we're hoping to all get loads back out to Washington. There was a lot of Pascos on the board, and come back out. There'll be 3 of us, and we were going to stop back in here and just actually get out and roam around, see what all there was to see here when we got back. Now, last night we parked out behind the Outback Steakhouse, and between Outback Steakhouse and the Petco, had no issues. It was super quiet here all night long. Everything, I mean, I'll do it again in a heartbeat. At first, normally if I park in a shopping center or something like that, I always worry about getting ran off, because it happens so many times in the 18-wheeler, but this seems to be different. So anyway, I'm going to end this video now. Thank you, every one of you, the subscribers and people who watch these videos. I sure do appreciate it. It means a lot to me, and I will see you in the next video.